Saturday check of my garden. So my spinach here, I had some bottom leaves that turned yellow, which means that I'm watering my plants way too much. So I pinched off the bottom shoots, and then we're gonna see how it's gonna do, and then I'm gonna give it probably 2 to 3 days to dry out. So the soil right now is really saturated, and I've been getting a little bit of rain, like sprinkly rain. So I'm just gonna let it be for a couple of days and come back and check the soil. So we're getting some growth, but I am going overboard in the water. These guys really start to shoot up. Those are my herbs. And then my flowers, these are my poppies that are coming along. But these herbs, I'm telling you, they don't like the soil that they came in. They're not growing. So we're gonna try not watering for a few days and see if that helps. My spinach and my arugula is slowly growing, and some of my other lettuce. But yeah, here we go. So this is Hey guys, what's just giving you a check-in on Monday, and I have been avoiding doing this video because I honestly have just been emotionally just exhausted with dating, and this is our dating update for the week. So remember that guy I was talking about, like we went on like 2 dates. The first date I was just not feeling it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him a second date, and our second date was pretty okay. We went and we hung out at the beach and we took photos. And it was nice. And then we were supposed to have a third date that he canceled last minute, and I was done with him. Okay, so let me fill you in on what happened, why I continue to talk to this guy for a little bit. I was talking to this guy, and I basically laid it on the line for him, and I said, look, you canceled a date, and I'm just like, it doesn't seem like you're really serious about really finding someone that you really like, so good luck to you. So I sent him a message, and of course he starts writing back like, no, I am serious, blah blah blah, and like, you know, like this won't happen again, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I said, well, I basically said I was booked for like 2 weekends, and literally I was, and I was like, I'm not going to be available until like the first weekend of May or something, and even then I'm still not available because I have to work on this weekend. So yeah, so we went through all of that. And so we just kept talking, and so he was calling me like every day and texting me and all this sort of thing. And then he sends me a message and said that his grandma passed away, which I did know that. He says, my grandma's getting towards the end of her life. She's on hospice, all this stuff. So I knew that was happening. So his grandma died. So I didn't think that was a good time to like drop this guy. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to like give him some space. And so he just said, hey, I'm helping the family get all the arrangements done. I'm working on my grandma's house because we're going to put it on the market, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, totally fine, understanding. I had my weekends back. I wasn't trying to like juggle this guy and try to squeeze in a quick date. Number one reason why I did the whole like we're not on the same page thing is because he ended up calling me, and he was drunk. He was wasted. And as soon as I picked up the phone, I was just like, whoa, bro, like what's going on? And he's like, oh, well, I had a hard day at work, and so I went out and I had a couple of drinks. And I'm like, you had a couple of drinks? I said, it sounds like you drank a whole keg of beer. Like, it's ridiculous. So that was a complete turn off, and it actually made me like really anxious and scared because I'm like, I don't want this in my life. I didn't talk to him for a full day, and I just kind of like was like, I need some time to think. So then like I messaged him the next day and I said, look, I don't think we're on the same page. We're not on the same page. I'm like, you are drinking. I really was upset. I felt like super disrespected because I'm just like, why would you call me? And like, we didn't talk for that long because I was like, I'm not going to talk to you while you're drunk. But he just was like, he calls, he goes, hey, there's my girl. How are you? He was just like, just out of it. So I was like, well, I'm going to let you go. You seem like you're having a good time by yourself, and we're not going to have a really clear conversation. So yeah, we'll talk later. And I hung up. Like, he didn't call me. He knew I was upset, but he didn't like bother to call me for a couple of days. So I was really done. And he called me and I just said, look, like, this is the issue that I have with you. I said, like, I felt like super disrespected that you would even bother to call me. It was super rude, and you're drunk, and I don't want somebody who drinks all the time. And he's like, oh, I barely drink. But it just seems like that happening again, but he didn't call me. But I could just tell that when he hangs around certain people that he would drink. And he's like, oh, I don't really drink that often. That ended up not seeming like that was true because it happened twice. So I was like, okay. I stopped talking to him like all the time, but he kept calling. So I was just like, okay. So we tried to have like conversations, and I basically said, this is what I'm looking for. And it doesn't seem like we're on the same page. This is a kicker. We were having a phone conversation, and he was just kind of talking about like the life that he wants. And basically he said that he just kind of wants to just be almost like a lone wolf. And he just was like, Samara, I have to just be completely honest with you that I don't want kids. Like, I don't want kids at all. And he's just like, my focus right now is just taking care of my dad. I wanted like a girlfriend. Like, I wanted someone to be with, but I don't want a family. And to me, that just felt like so weird. I guess it's not that uncommon, but it's just, to me, it's like so weird. I was like, don't you want to like carry on your family legacy? That did not click with him at all. And he was just kind of like, no, I just don't want kids. Off of that conversation, I said, well, I think we both should probably just stop talking. I said, because this is clearly not a match, and we have completely different views on life and what we want in life. And I said, this is what I would like. I'd like a family. Yeah. So he was just like, well, can we just keep talking about it? And I was just like, no. I said, you made it very clear that this is all you want. It's just to kind of be a lone wolf and do his own thing. So I broke it off with that guy, and he was just like, well, can we still be friends? And I was like, I mean, yeah. I'm like, that's fine. I said, but I will be honest with you. I said, priority for me is dating. And I said, so don't expect for us to like be scheduling time to hang out anytime soon. I said, because I'm dating around. Like, I want to date someone. I want to find somebody who wants the same things I do. So he ended up texting me like a day later, and we had a project that we were supposed to do. And he was like, hey, like, do you still want me to work on this project? He was going to like do this wood carving for my garden. And I just said, yeah, no, I'm good. I was like, I'll do it myself, or I'll figure it out. And so if there was just like a litany of like reasons why this guy was not good. But to me, he just seemed like super unreliable. And I've met so many guys who always say, I'm true to my word, blah, blah, blah. But they're really not true to their word. I mean, he told me, hey, we're going to get together and we're going to put your garden box together. Then he flaked on me and was like, oh, I can't. I have to go do this instead. And so the next time I talked to him, he was just like, oh, wait, when are we going to get together? And I said, I already built the freaking greenhouse myself. I said, because I'm not going to wait for you. I wanted to get that done. And you said you were going to help me with that. So I just built it myself. So whatever. I was like, well, you snooze, you lose. I just went ahead and did it myself. And so anyways, that was a long story short. I probably should have cut him off like after the first date, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to be that picky. I'm going to give him a second chance because maybe he was nervous. And I wasn't in the best mood when I got there. So I felt bad having to do it like, a week after his grandma died, but hey, it is what it is. And I think continuing to talk to this guy, I told him was, you're going to find, I go, there's a girl out there who wants the same things you want. Basically, like, he said something like, he wanted to have like personal freedom, something like that. And basically I got the feeling like he wants to be like Peter Pan and never grow up. That was how I've read into that. And I said, there's probably a girl out there who wants the same thing as you. Like, she does not want kids, and she just wants to just hang and go do stuff, And like, that's not what I really want in my life. Cut that like I lose. So that was done. So I've just been like looking around on these stinking dating apps. There's just no one that I find attractive. Back in the day, our apps and stuff, like dating apps, were like much better because you could write more things in your profile that gives you more of a vibe of the person, right? They don't do that anymore. Everything's very, very short and brief. So I ended up talking to another guy very briefly for like maybe a day. And he just seemed like he was either ADHD or he was like cracked out on something, because I love guys when they like write to you and they write like full sentences, which is great. But this guy, it was too much communication. And it was like, if I didn't write back to him, he was just like, oh, like, did I do something wrong? And I was like, bro, I'm at work. Okay. Some of us have to actually work. And so I was just like, yeah, that just turned me off. So I was like, I'm just not gonna like respond to him. And he like gave me his number and he was like, hey, you can call me. But I just was like not vibing with that. And I was like, okay, to me, that just felt like overwhelming and almost controlling. So I didn't like that either. Heck, I go. And I think the thing that I was internally gambling with was like releasing the other guy was the fact that he actually seemed to really like me, and he found me very interesting, but our values were not aligned. He might seem to like me and he spends time with me and wants to spend time with me and whatever, but he's missing all of this laundry list of things. Anyways, it's a little, yeah. So I've just been taking some time to reevaluate, and I have just been praying and trying not to get discouraged. And I look on dating app like daily that they write in their profile, or even just like looking at their photos. Like no one's like, oh, okay, that guy's cute. And then I also do this thing where I say, okay, like this guy is cute, but is this guy like the guy that would want to like date someone like me? That's always my other thing that I look at when I am looking through websites, dating websites, is I will see like, okay, like mentally putting myself together with a person and saying, but would this person like me as like my type of person? And typically that I just have that intuition sense, like, no, like this person isn't gonna like me or my vibe, or who's not gonna align with the things that I want to do, or who wouldn't be interested in the things that I want to do. Anyways, that's been a whole vibe. And so yeah, dating update is done. I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing another podcast with another guest this week. And it was a friend of Tashai. So thanks for the referral. And it's going to be really cool. One of my coworkers, she's going to come on the podcast, and I'm hoping to schedule her for the next week. So we're going to talk about her baby girl's birth story. And it was just, it's deep. It's so much. I don't know how her and her husband got through all of it, but very traumatic birth. And so I think that was really important to talk about, because, she was like first time mom. She had already been through a miscarriage before. And so her whole pregnancy was going really smooth. And then I think she was about 8 months and her water broke in the middle of the night. And so she had to go in and deal with that. And her baby came out and was premature and went through some struggles. So anyway, I'm going to have them on the show because I think it would be really good to tell the story, because she was in my office and I said, you know what? We never really sat down and like talked about your birth stories, your daughter's birth story. And I just kind of heard bits and pieces, but we haven't really like sat down to talk about it. And then she was like, oh, well, let me break it down. And I was like, okay. I said, would you mind coming on my podcast? And she's like, oh yeah, that would be so cool. So anyways, we're going to do that. And then my nutrition update has been horrible. I have just been on this horrible kick of sweets, eating healthy foods. And so I'm sure you can tell in my face that I'm a little puffy. Not even a little puffy, but a lot puffy. And so I have put on like 8 pounds, which is not good. So it's like 6 to 8 pounds or something. So I definitely need to kick back. I keep telling myself I'm going to call like our marquee coaches and talk to them. They're our fitness coach or whatever. And I need to take advantage of that because it's free. And I just really been struggling with the whole sugar thing. So I don't know. I know that like if I'm feeling sad or if I'm feeling like overwhelmed, and I noticed that when I was talking to this guy that I would get stressed, even a little stressed. And I was like, oh, I'll go have something to eat. I'll go grab something, or, oh, I'm coming home from, somewhere. And I think I just want to go grab like a quick snack or a quick treat from Starbucks. So I start these patterns, and I think in a way I self-sabotage myself, that like, if someone's trying to get too close, that I will subconsciously want to put on weight to protect myself from certain people. So I don't know I do that, but I'm doing it right now. And so I am aware. And so I'm working on that. So I went and got my healthy snacks from Sprouts. I was really, really hungry today. And so I got some treats that are a better option. So some of my go-to snacks I will show you guys. One of them is this undercover chocolate quinoa crisp. These were like my go-to in December. And they're really simple ingredients, just dark chocolate, cacao beans, cane sugar, cocoa butter, and vanilla beans, quinoa, and sea salt. So pretty simple, low in calories, you know. So we have that. And then we have our Lesser Evil popcorn, which I love. Lesser Evil popcorn. They have different varieties of flavors, but they have one that is just simply like organic popcorn, ghee, and Himalayan salt. It's amazing. So I've been on a kick with that. And then I pulled back up on my Siete cookies because this is a better option. The ingredients are way cleaner. And so when I have, and these are like, because they're crunchy, that they're harder for me to like chew, and it takes extra effort, not like a soft cookie. These taste like a snickerdoodle. They're great, but they're harder to chew, so I don't eat as many of them. So anyways, so I've really been struggling with my food. Today I made for lunch, I ended up getting some rotisserie chicken or shredded chicken from Sprouts. And I was like, okay, we're going to just make salads. We're going to make it simple. We're going to go get some meat and throw some salad. And I got some Caesar salad dressing from Primal Kitchen and made a salad. And then I got this vegan Parmesan shredded cheese. And it actually was pretty good. I think they have the texture right, but the flavor isn't quite there, but having the dressing really helped. And my salad is fantastic. I had it last night and I had it today. So I think I'm going to work on that and try to incorporate more salads and vegetables in my life, but also kicking back on the sugar and just dialing back to basically, I'm trying to like wean myself off and just dial it back until I can get back together. So I know the end of this month or early June, we're going to have a check-in. So I'm just like, okay, like I have to stop everything now. So I either need to weigh the same or weigh a little bit less. So it's definitely been hard. I've just been making excuses of why I could go grab a quick bite, or I could just go grab something from a restaurant. So I've just been making a lot of excuses like, oh, I'm tired, or oh, I just was craving this. My cravings have been really strong and I just haven't felt like resisting or putting up a fight with them. So I'm working on that. So, and I'm also taking another supplement that really helped me last time when I was going through this craving cycling. It's supposed to help suppress my appetite. So we'll see if that happens. It usually takes about like a week or two to really kind of get ingrained in my system, where I'm just like, I'll just stop eating. I'll just be like, oh, I'm full. I can't eat anymore. So I'm working on that. And so I'm going to get back on the Whole30 full time and stop eating certain things that I know I shouldn't be eating. So that's where we're at. That's my report for this week. I know it's a lot. I'm sure the dating part didn't really make a whole lot of sense and I kind of floundered on that, but that's okay. I've just been avoiding talking about it because I just didn't feel like it. I'll like, just honest, I just didn't feel like talking about it because this guy was just such a mess. And the simple fact that I like put up with it was just stupid. So I didn't really want to talk about it, but here I am talking about it and done. My new friend that I am praying and I'm going to pray to who I think is going to be a saint at some point in our lives is Pope Francis. So I decided that I'm going to start praying to Pope Francis and see if he can help me. I was like, I don't know if anybody up there can help me. I've been calling on all sorts of saints for a long time to help me in this situation with dating and finding like my person. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask you and I'm going to see what happens. So hopefully I can be like the first miracle. And like, I honestly feel like for me to find my person, it's going to take a miracle. I literally feel like that right now at the point I am 6 months away from turning 42. I have no relationships. I have nobody in sight. I'm not meeting anybody. No one's introducing me to anybody. I'm trying to date guys and all these guys are just lackluster. No one excites me and it's just annoying. So struggling right now with nutrition and working out. But you can work out all you want, but you have to eat the right stuff, and you can't like flounder and go back. So anyways, if you guys like this video and this debrief, if you're struggling with nutrition, drop me a comment. I would love to hear about really what is your triggers? What is your triggers when you go into like a bad eating vibe or a binge or whatever? And I would like to know. So I will talk to you guys very soon. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.